What's up, YouTube? I'm Mike, and today I'm back with a treat for all of you steroid lovers. I suspect that the haters are going to hate all over this video. So very rarely do I have this request. I've said before, I hate the people who are always begging for likes and shares. When you get to the end of this video, because you should never like and share a video at the beginning, it makes me fucking mental when I click on a YouTube video and the first thing the person tells you to do is like and subscribe. I haven't even watched the video yet. Why would I like and subscribe until I've watched the video? It makes no sense. So after you've watched this video, and you love it, which I suspect that you're going to, please share this video. As of the time of making it, I have not come up with a good title to maximize reach, and I think that this is something that every steroid user this is a story that every steroid user needs to hear. Because one of the things that, I think is in the back of all of our minds is, are we taking a risk with our health? Like, what are the long-term consequences of blasting gear? You hear all of this bro science about Tren being hepatotoxic, neurotoxic, kidney toxic. You can't take orals for very long. One of the other stupid fucking things I hear all the time, I think more dates started this nonsense. You only have so many blasts in your tank. Everything that is talked about paints this picture that, like, if you do steroids for any length of time, or if you use the wrong compounds, you are just setting yourself up for a lifetime of misery. We pretty much know, like, we don't really even need science and data to prove that this is bullshit. All you really need to do is have common sense. And look at the number of 70, Arnold Schwarzenegger is still alive. Like the number of old school bodybuilders who are still alive, who competed for years, who blasted for years, who kept using gear probably indefinitely after they quit competing. If you look at Sylvester Stallone, the guy's bigger now than he was in the original Rambo. He's been on gear for life, I guarantee you. But there's not a lot of good data. That's the thing. We're short on data of long-term steroid users and what the effects that the gear has had on their health, and how long were they actually able to continue running gear. Is there any truth to this? You only have so many blasts in your tank nonsense. So what I have to share with you today that goes to further back up many of the videos I've made. Like, I have done my own testing to unequivocally prove that Trenbolone is not hepatotoxic. It's not hepatotoxic. It does not fuck up your liver at all, period. And I've tested this with multiple doses and made videos about it. People still refuse to believe it, no matter how much data I put forth. And the haters are still going to refuse to believe the data that I'm about to give you. But for those of you in the know, hopefully this will put you at ease. Hopefully this will give you some comfort to see an example of just a normal human being, not a pro bodybuilder. This guy's got phenomenal genetics that I'm going to be talking about today, but he's never been a competitive bodybuilder. So you can't blame, oh, this guy's got top tier elite fucking genetics. He's got good genetics. There's no doubt about it, but he's never been a pro bodybuilder. So what can we expect of the more average, or a high tier non-competitive bodybuilder? What should we expect to see long term? So here we go. The person I'm going to be talking about today, his name is John. That's all the information I'm giving you. His name is John, and he's 59 years old. He's been blasting and cruising basically consistently for the last 14 years. So right then and there, we have a perfect example of someone that we can look at. What kind of gear are they using? What kind of doses are they using? What does their blood work look like? To get a real clear picture on just how safe is blasting and cruising anabolic steroids. So 59 years old, he's been on gear for 14 years with occasional breaks, but always stayed on TRT between cycles. So this is somebody who's been on TRT at a minimum for 14 consecutive years and is now 59 years old. Before we get into the blood work, let's first look at what he was taking before he got his blood work, or when he got his blood work. Because one of the other things that I hear consistently in the bodybuilding community is that Superdrol is one of the most hepatotoxic drugs you can take. I cannot tell you the number of forums that I've read where guys were saying, oh my God, I could only tolerate it for 2 weeks before I was having all of this lethargy and misery, and it's destroying my liver. Like, Superdrol's got one of the worst reputations of being one of the most toxic drugs you can take. And so when my friend John, he's one of the few people that I've met through this YouTube channel that I've really become close friends with. He was just absolutely fucking phenomenal in helping me get through my most recent medical scare. Without this guy and a couple other people I could name, I might not be sitting here today. Like, cannot thank him enough for just all of the advice and the support that he's given me during this period of time. And so I'm really excited to share his data with you. So here's his current cycle. Currently, he's been on Tren. He was taking Tren 100 milligrams every 5 days, starting on January 10th of 2024. On February 20th of 2024, he increased Tren E from 100 milligrams every 5 days to 300 milligrams every 5 days. So somebody in the audience that knows how to do this math can convert in the comments what that weekly dose is, that actual total weekly dose is. If you're taking 300 milligrams every 5 days, I don't know exactly what that works out to per week. He's taking Sustanon at 270 milligrams every 5 days. And that was as of February 20th, 2024. Then on February 25th, he started microdosing and taking his shots every single day. As many of you have recommended in the comments, this is becoming more and more popular. I'm probably gonna have to break down and try it. Every day I've got somebody telling me, dude, just take daily injections and you won't need as much Arimidex, you won't have as much prolactin, you won't have as much estrogen problems. And so on 2/25/2024, he went to daily dosing. Sustanon at 54 milligrams per day, Tren E at 60 milligrams per day. So that'll get you your weekly doses right there. At this point, he added Superdrol at 10 milligrams per day. Then on April the 28th of 2024, he started, it says Superdrol 10 milligrams a day, ended 3-week cycle on April 6th. So from 2025 to April 6th, excuse me, from February 25th to April 6th, he was running 10 milligrams of Superdrol, and then he took a break. On April 6th, he ended that after 3 weeks on April 6th. He started back on Superdrol on April the 28th at 20 milligrams per day. Then on May 5th, which was week 2, he increased the Superdrol to 30 milligrams a day, or 3 pills. Superdrol ends May 18th, which is today. So when he got his blood work pulled, he was on week 3 at 30 milligrams a day of Superdrol. He was taking 54 milligrams of Tren E per day, and 54 milligrams of Sustanon per day, Tren E at 60 milligrams per day. So we've got 420 milligrams of Tren E and 30 milligrams of Superdrol per day in his system when he got his blood work done. So conventional wisdom, this guy's probably almost dead. How could he possibly be taking Trenbolone at 420 milligrams per week, along with one of the supposed bro science claims that one of the most hepatotoxic orals you can take in Superdrol. This guy clearly should have a liver that's getting ready to fall the fuck out. And let's not forget, this is not a 25-year-old man we're talking about. This is not somebody who still has supposedly 10 blasts left in the tank. This is at the end of a 14-year-long consecutive fucking androgen use cycle. He's been using blasting and cruising for 14 years straight. How could he have possibly gotten here if everything that is commonly known or commonly claimed to be known in the bodybuilding community is true? So, let's have a look at his labs. His glucose was high at 113. I suspect when he got this lab, he was not fasting. His bun was normal at 18. Creatinine, shocking, minorly elevated at 1.4. If you've been bodybuilding for any period of time, if you have any appreciable amount of muscle mass on your frame, your creatinine will be elevated. When I was in the hospital recently, at first, when they saw that my creatinine was 1.43, they you know, on paper, it's like, we may have a kidney problem. One of the female doctors came in and she took one look at me and said, I have absolutely zero concerns about a creatinine level at 1.4 with your level of musculature. It is exactly what we would expect to see. One of the things that you guys have to remember, if you are a steroid user, if you are a bodybuilder and you have abnormally large amounts of muscle on your frame, you no longer fall within the standard bell curve. So when you're looking at labs and something falls outside of the normal range, sometimes, not always, but sometimes, and definitively in the case of creatinine, this is the case. If you have supra-physiological levels of muscle on your body, you are probably never going to be in the normal range of creatinine. It doesn't even make sense that you would be, because it's a byproduct of muscle metabolism. So creatinine is high at 1.4, sodium normal, potassium normal, chloride normal, CO2 normal, calcium normal, total protein normal, albumin normal, globulin normal, bilirubin total normal, alkaline phosphatase normal. ALT, this is where shit's gonna go wrong, isn't it? We've got 420 milligrams of Trenbolone, which John Jewett and a whole army of pro bodybuilding coaches will tell you is liver toxic. You can line up all of the supposed fucking geniuses in the bodybuilding community, the overwhelming majority of supposedly in the know people will tell you that Trenbolone is liver toxic. They will definitively tell you that Superdrol is liver toxic. I knew that Superdrol was liver toxic. How can it not be? On paper, it should be very, very liver toxic. So we should see an ALT, AST level that is fucked up. Keep in mind, I just got through going through this experience. When I was given Augmentin, an antibiotic, it spiked my liver enzymes to 1,361, and the doctor said, don't worry, they're going to come back down, you're going to be fine. It is expected that because my levels peaked and fell rapidly, that I should experience no long-term damage from having an ALT level that was 40 fucking times the top end of the range. So what we should be getting ready to see here has got to be orders of magnitude worse. ALT flagged high at 79 in a range of 0 to 48, and AST flagged high at 43 in a range of 0 to 38. And then everything else is normal. Albumin to globulin, creatine to the bun creatinine ratio, all absolutely normal. So to put this into perspective, the ALT, AST levels that we're looking at on this 59-year-old man's blood work after 14 years of blasting and cruising with one of the most supposedly hepatotoxic orals you can take 3 weeks into his bloodstream, and 420 milligrams of Trenbolone E, we have AST, ALT levels that are lower, fucking lower, than what you would probably have if you got your blood work pulled when you had the flu. Or if you had gone binge drinking for a weekend, you would likely see AST, ALT levels more inflated than what we're looking at here on what is supposed to be two of the most hepatotoxic drugs you can take. So there you have it, as is clearly defined by this data. Oh, and one more thing, his E2 came back at 31.6. Perfect, just barely on the high end of normal. The range is 0, which why a male range would be 0 is the stupidest fucking thing in the world. This tells you how dumb blood work ranges are. That they're saying that he would be within the reference range if he had 0 estrogen in his body. He would also have 0 interest in women. His dick would be broken. His joints would be aching. He would be massively fucking tired. He would feel like shit. He would feel like total fucking shit if he crashed his estrogen into the toilet and yet would still fall within the fucking medical reference range. That alone should tell you how fucking stupid and useless these ranges are. So he's got 31.6 in a range of 0.0 to 39.8, which what I have found in my own personal body is the absolute sweet spot. I used to try to keep my E2 right in the center. Having it slightly on the upper end of the range gives me much better sexual response. I feel better. I'm slightly fuller, going to carry a tiny bit more water than if I was, if my E2 was right in the middle. All in all, I feel my best at an E2 that is slightly above the middle line of normal. So there you have it. I don't know what other data you could possibly want to see. This man's blood work and this man's bodybuilding experience should check every single box for any of you fucking doubters or haters out there. You can't blame age. You can't blame duration of exposure. We've got 14 consecutive years of never coming off gear. It blows holes completely into this idea that you have limited number of fucking blasts in the tank, or that staying on gear long term is deleterious to your health. There is 0 evidence to back up any of the fucking bullshit claims that are perpetuated by top name coaches, big name doctors, the entire fucking medical community at large. Basically, all of the fucking conventional wisdom would have you believe that this is basically impossible. That a person who's been living their life like this, their blood work should be all kinds of fucked up, and we just don't see it. There is no sign here of any kind of chronic kidney disease, no signs of any kind of chronic liver disease. Everything that we're looking at here shows a person who has been optimizing his hormones and using super physiological doses for greater than a decade consecutively, and is now starting to get up there in years, and has 0 deleterious effects to his health or well-being at all. Again, like I said, to me, this should be fucking case closed on the entire idea that steroids are unsafe to use in large quantities and for prolonged periods of time. Anybody who's ever run Trenbolone, and I suspect anybody who's ever run Superdrol, I have never run it. I don't know what it feels like. I bought into the bullshit. I was too afraid to try it. I'm finding out more. There was the same thing with Tren. I didn't want to try Tren because I bought the bullshit. The more and more I guinea pig my own body, and the more and more I talk to other people who have been guinea pigging their bodies, other people who have nothing to gain by lying to you. They're not selling you some J2 whatever bullshit training course. They're not trying to get you to pay thousands of fucking dollars for their coaching. They're not selling you any supplements. They're not selling you any liver guard like that fucking Ryan Ankrum. He's always hawking his take this liver guard, don't die bullshit. When Greg Doucette coincidentally, is somebody who likes to parrot all this bullshit, and he's sitting in front of his when he's making videos, he's got all of the products that he's selling behind him. When you actually talk to real life users who have nothing to gain from fucking lying to you, that's when you start to really pull the wool back and see what's underneath there. And this is just one person. I would love it if, when I look at my analytics, I'm finding out that the vast majority of the people who watch my videos are in their middle 30s to middle 40s. I actually don't have a tremendously young audience. Most of the people who are, the vast majority of people who are watching my channel fall relatively in line with my age range. So if there are any other people in the audience who would like to contribute to this so that we can start putting this bullshit to rest, if you've been blasting gear for an extended period of time, if you've got 10 years under your belt, if you've got any logs or data, if you've run high trend cycles, lots of orals, all of the things they tell you not to do, like I was told by how many fucking people, don't combine 219 nor drugs. I did exactly the fucking opposite. I've never fucking felt better. The Tren and Deca combo has been fucking phenomenal in every single way. I couldn't come up with a single thing to complain about. Once you learn to control your estrogen and prolactin, the sky is the fucking limit with what you can do as far as bodybuilding drugs go. Admittedly, what we don't see here, and what is probably out of line like the rest of us, is the one sort of elephant in the room is going to be lipid levels. If you are not taking a statin, which I am personally against, I've got some doctor friends who recommend them regularly. The reason, and even my doctor friends that recommend them seem to agree with my analysis. My lipids are fucked up. My HDL is too low, my LDL is too high, but my triglycerides are normal, and every single time I have gotten a C-reactive protein test done, my level has come back on the low end of normal. I think the highest my C-reactive protein has ever been is 0.4. So my understanding is that as long as your C-reactive protein is low, your triglycerides are normal, HDL and LDL being out of whack from steroid use is not something to overly concern yourself with. If you want to take a statin, if you want to do something to lower it, there are certainly things available. I'm sure he'll be in the comments on this video talking about his recommended protocol. But so anyway, the point I'm getting sidetracked. I would love to hear from other users in the community. If you have similar blood work, if you can give me the details on what you were taking, when you got your blood work pulled, so that we can build basically our own study. If we can start stacking up one study participant after the other who has been using using all of the drugs at our disposal and coming back with regular blood work, hopefully we can start putting this bullshit to bed. If there are any of you out there who are running a bunch of SARMs and you're getting blood work done, I would love to see that. It's been requested that I make a video on SARMs. I probably will make the video, but the Cliff Notes version is I don't take them, with the exception of like MK677, which is really not a SARM. I don't take any of the new age SARMs because I just don't trust them yet. I would love to be proven wrong. I think that you're better off just taking drugs. Like I feel more comfortable taking drugs that Arnold took when he's still walking around at 70 or 80 or however the fuck old he is. That tells me that this is a safe drug if somebody can get away with using it for fucking decades. These new SARMs, we don't know what the long-term effects are, but I'll talk about that more linked in that video. I just wanted to bring this data to you because honestly, it shocked me. I was the person that recommended he go get his blood work done because we talk frequently, and he's been giving me updates on the Superdrol because I've never taken it, and he was reporting some lethargy while taking it, and I was like, oh shit, dude, maybe you should go get your LFTs checked. You might, that might be why you're feeling, lethargic. I honestly thought that he was going to report back after he got his enzymes checked, and they were going to be well over. I thought they were going to be 200 minimum. I thought minimum when he came back with his blood work, that his ALT level would be a minimum of 200 on the shit that he was taking, and lo and behold, it's a 79. So Thank you, John, very much for being willing to get this blood work done, for being willing to share this data, for being willing to let me share it with my audience. This is exactly the kind of content that we need so that we can help people to, again, like I've said in the beginning, the whole point of my channel was helping to present data so that people could make conscientious decisions with their health. So that when they're deciding whether or not they want to start TRT, they know what the long-term effects are going to be. When they decide whether or not they want to run a blast, whether it's just test or whether it's test and DECA and D-ball and fucking Tren and Halo and whatever the fuck you want to run, I've been trying to amass as much data so that you can go into that experience with some level of comfort in knowing that I'm not going into the woods alone. You know, I'm not blazing my own trail. There's been plenty of people who have come and gone before me, and they're perfectly safe and perfectly healthy, having done the exact cycle that I'm looking to do. Now, obviously, there's a caveat there. Everybody's body reacts differently. My liver has always been on the fucking dodgy side. So here you've got a guy who was 3 weeks into 30 milligrams of Superdrol per day, and his ALT was 79. When I ran 6 weeks of fucking Anavar at 30 milligrams a day, my ALT was 201. My doctor was trying to pull a liver biopsy because he didn't know why my liver enzymes were elevated to 201. So where here I am on what's supposed to be a very liver safe oral, 6 weeks deep, ALT 201, John over here is taking 30 milligrams of fucking Superdrol a day and has a 79. So everybody's body is different. You can't just take one person's experience and expect that to apply to you. And that's why John's data is so fucking valuable. Because you've got one guy, you've got a person who's on one side of the fence who can take a very, supposedly very, very toxic oral and have little to no liver inflammation. And then you've got me over here who's taking what is commonly considered to be the safest oral, and my doctor was ready to biopsy my fucking liver over it. So this shows you why these ranges exist and why you can never assume one thing or the other based purely on what somebody else's experience is, which is why we need more data. So please, guys, on the IG, on my email, trinity1@gmail.com, flood me with your data. If you've got cycle reports and blood work, I want to see it. I will make a video sharing your data just like this so that we can drive these fucking haters back underground where they belong. I honestly, this is another one of those videos where I can't wait to see what the haters have to say. What are you going to say now? Okay? What are you going to point the finger at now with this data to continue to perpetuate the lie that anabolic steroids are dangerous and deleterious to your health? I can't wait to read it. As always, thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next one.